You found out that you're a projector in your human design, and now you're hungry to understand how you can apply your energetic authenticity to make your business grow and excel. In this video, I'm going to break down the 4 core pillars that you can start integrating to use this superpower of being a projector to create an incredibly successful business. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Human Design Portal, your safe space to decondition and align with the right people, chances, and opportunities in your life. My name is Micah Gabriela, and I'm a human design reader, a deconditioning expert, and the founder of the Transformational Human Design Certification. And I have supported hundreds of projectors that were struggling with their business because we often don't fit in the way society has taught us is the only way to have a substantial business. And I myself am a projector who has built a multiple 6-figure business, and I know that that is not the only credit. Like, I don't think the money is the credit in the thing, but I do think that it shows for something. And so in this video, I'm going to share with you the absolutely most important pillars for you to understand to leverage your beautiful projectorness in creating an incredible, successful, uplifting, up-leveling, new paradigm business. Let's dive deep. So this is what we're going to talk about in this video: your energy levels and passive income, what waiting for the invitation actually means and what you can do to create invitations, finding your niche and going deep down the rabbit hole, and all you need to know about self-worth, recognition, money, and how that ties to your success. Let's start with the first topic. Okay. Energy levels is a big one, ladies and gentlemen, my beautiful projectors, because there is this myth that projectors don't have energy. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's not that we don't have energy, it's that our energy is not consistent. And so what happens is that we live in a society that right now is still operating this old paradigm way where we're compensated for the amount of time we're putting in a job, which honestly I think is absolutely insane, because that model that we have right now allows us to be stuck in a job we hate, that we're not great in excelling at doing, that we're not passionate about doing, just because we can like check off the 8 hours of work and then go home. And it's so interesting because if we would be compensated for how passionate we are about what we're doing, or how dedicated or how good we are at what we're doing, so many of us would not be stuck in a job we don't like just to pay our rent. And so understanding that as a projector, your worth will never be equal in amount of hours of time. You're not here to prove how much you can do. Your real goal is to be able to explain in the best, most concise way the thing that only you are able to see. Your value is not upon how much you're doing or how much time you're investing in something, but how great you are at like taking out the specific things that you see within whatever you've been asked to assess. Okay? So the reason this is so interesting is because we're not able to just start working as waitresses in a cafe if money's tight. If we're energetically authentic, we can't just, do whatever job and just hustle, because that is not our energetic authenticity. We need to understand that the only way we're going to be successful is if we are authentic. The only way you're going to have a successful business if you create your own path. What happens is that as projectors, because we have these penetrative auras, we're constantly looking outside of ourselves. And because we're so great at seeing patterns, we see other people being successful and we're like, oh, that's so easy. I see exactly how they did A, B, C, D, and now they're there. And so I'm going to do the same thing. The problem is that their path is not your path, and that they're probably a different energy type. So often, these references that we have of successful people, successful entrepreneurs, a successful business don't apply to us because we're operating from a completely different slate. And so understanding that it's all about looking within and letting our soul guide us to what feels right and moving with utter integrity is the only way you're going to be able to create this very unique path for yourself. And so because we don't fit into this like hustle machine of just like working, it is so important to understand that it's actually in your purpose. that only when you show up authentically, you are in your purpose, and only when you are in your purpose, you will get supported by the universe to continue to experience success. Okay, so the reason you're a projector, the reason your karma or tikkun, as we say in Kabbalah, the reason you have got this life lesson of being a projector in this lifetime is because you are one of the 20% of society, of the population, that has been adhered this new leadership. You have been born in this incredible specific time, this crazy wild moment in, this time of change where we're moving into this new consciousness, and you're here to lead us. And you're not here to lead us the way that we have grown up under leadership, with terror and manipulation and anxiety and stress and fear, but actually by being curious, by actually understanding the other person. The more you understand the other person, the more you're able to guide them. And so your success is so intrinsically connected to other people's success that there is no projector that will ever be able to be successful in a selfish way, which is so beautiful and so incredibly, circular. It's this infinite thing of the more you make people successful, the more you will become successful. And so understanding that we don't have that energetic pattern is incredibly important. Understanding that you will not wake up every day and be in full go mode is super important. Why? Because you are here to show others that we don't need to hustle to be successful. We don't need to burn out to create a business that feels enriching and that makes the money that our soul desires to experience. And so the moment that you start trying to catch up with generating content or doing whatever the things are that you feel you have to do in order to keep up with society, it's actually removing magnetism. You will stand out, and your magnetism will be created by the fact that you're living a completely different business life. And I'm somebody, for example, I have a very intense, ambitious, material chart. So I am very passionate about building businesses, and I actually really like that feeling of creating and building a business. But it is within your unique chart and your unique imprint and what your soul desires and where it's taking you, then you need to figure out how you want your dream life to look like. You will never achieve that sense of fulfillment if you're constantly working for your business rather than taking a step back and thinking about what you want your dream life to look like and then applying business to that dream life. Meaning you want to have freedom to wake up one day at 7 a.m. and the next at 11 a.m., then create freedom around that. You want to be able to have your morning routine and not start taking calls or not working until 12 p.m. Do that, okay? Create the kind of model that you want for your life, but your life has to be created first, and then you can bring in the other information. This ties into understanding that it's incredibly important for projectors to have a passive income. The reason that I started the human design certification is not because I ever thought that I wanted to create a human design certification. I didn't wake up one morning and was like, I'm going to teach people how to read a human design chart. No. What happened was that I had this overwhelming demand for one-on-one sessions. And I was so grateful, and I couldn't believe that the thing that I love most is the thing that is paying my bills, and that I get to do something where I impact people in a positive way day and day and day. And that was incredible. But at some point, my little projector self got burned out, and I didn't feel that excitement anymore. And that was for me the tell-all sign that, Micah, you have to change something in your business, because I know that my compass is the excitement and the connection that I feel to, God, the creator, light, universe, whatever you want to call it. But I know that I'm on the right track with what fulfills me is that gratefulness that expands in my heart, where I'm like, this is so good. Wow, how am I so lucky to live this life and have this experience? And anytime I'm in my work and I notice resistance, and I know that I'm moving away from that sense of open-heartedness and gratefulness and expansion, I know that there's something that needs to be changed. And so at some point I got sick, I got COVID, I had some other issues going on that were really draining my energy, on top of already being losing that excitement for the one-on-one sessions, that I was I need to create a different way to maintain economic sustainability and safety without it always having to depend on my capacity to be present and give my all. And so that's when I created the Transformational Human Design certification, because it became this opportunity to have a passive income. And so for you as a projector, it's going to be incredibly important that you find resources. This can be a digital product and it can cost you, you know, like whatever, $7.99. Or it can be a downloadable workbook that costs, you know, whatever, $25. It doesn't matter. You decide on the price point of the value that you want to give. But it's important that you structure, or, you know, you have investments, and those investments are, you know, like giving you a certain economic freedom and safety. But it's important for you as a projector to never need to rely on you needing to show up every day. There is virtue in showing up every day. There is an incredible force in committing to showing up to your audience, to your clients, for yourself, for your team every single day, even if you don't feel like it, okay? This is the thing about business. It's not about motivation. Business is about discipline. If you're waiting to be motivated to continue with your business, you better pack your bags and you can already like leave entrepreneurship. You know, like there's this myth, this glorification of like being an entrepreneur. I mean, the girl boss era died, but you know, there is this thing of like everybody needs to create their own business. And even though I strongly recommend that as a projector, you create your own business so that you can manage your time and hours and energy levels at all time as you please and it fits your body. I don't think that everybody has the capacity and is cut out to actually endure the intensity and the demand of being your own boss and creating your own business. Let's get into part 2. Creating invitations, or what waiting for the invitation means for your business, is such a crucial piece that so many projectors stumble upon. So I'm gonna try and break this down in several ways. So the first one is you do not need an invitation to create your business. The next thought to this is that often we believe like, oh, I'm gonna create this business. This is what I want to do. When we do things from this perspective of this is what I want to do, it's because you believe that if you become the person that you think you will be doing this business, people will have a perception about yourself. You will be able to have a perception about yourself. And so we want to remove that idea that you need to be a certain person to receive love and affection or whatever it is, because that idea was probably planted by conditioning, okay? And I say this because as I've talked to multiple entrepreneurs for the Soft Power podcast, in my personal life, the endless hours of research that I've done and, you know, interviews, books, whatever I've read, this idea of like, I'm going to start my business and this is what I'm going to do and this is how it's going to end, I haven't heard this nearly anywhere. The most common thing is we fall into our business. And as a projector, that's an incredible sign. All of my other businesses were from the mind. Like, I'm going to create this. This is a successful venture. This makes sense. But human design really found me and it continued to move me and it continued to kind of like just have a life of its own. Like I was just like, you know, what's happening here? This is incredibly important because oftentimes as a projector, you will notice that you have this space to create something amazing by the demand in your life for it. Meaning that as a projector, people should be coming towards you to ask you for advice. And when you're listening to what advice they're asking or wanting from you, that's what you can monetize. That's what you can make into, like, create an offering. As a projector, you're not here to invent grand things. You're here to make things more efficient, faster, cheaper, more affordable, and easier to understand. So you have this capacity of seeing certain patterns, of seeing things in a specific way. And only you know how to explain them so that it reaches and it touches others in a way that guides them and helps them to be more efficient and to get shit done. Okay, because even though projectors, we don't have the most amount of energy, we don't have that consistent energy, because we have little energy, we're incredibly efficient, okay? And that's what we're doing for everybody else. And so the waiting for the invitation part is crucial in that it allows you to protect your own self-worth. It allows you to understand how valuable it is what you have to share with the world. Because what happens is that we see all of these other energy types just sharing their wisdom, their knowledge, their energy, plentiful with everybody and anybody, and we think that's the way that we will attain recognition. But the truth is that we need to be, we need to have that black hat energy. I don't know if you guys are following this trend on TikTok, but it's like the black hat has to be the woman, golden retriever is the masculine energy, and the projector is the feminine energy, right? But the feminine energy is the black hat energy. It's like, I am sitting in my kingdom and I'm allowing people to come to me, and I know my worth, and therefore I don't need to overextend myself for anybody. And so this is an incredible way of really understanding the energetics of being a projector in business. You are here to share with the world what you see, but you're not here to push. You're not here to initiate. You're not here to write people emails, call other people, try to get this influencer to shout your workout. All of those things are going to feel super yucky when you do them, and are going to feel super yucky for the person on the other side receiving them. And so you have to have the certainty that by being authentically you will be divinely supported. And this is a very strong and big limiting belief that we need to remove, because we believe we need to sacrifice who we are in order to be accepted and loved. We believe that there's a part of us that is shameful and that has been punished and has been physically, emotionally abused by our caretakers or our environment, and that makes us believe that there's something faulty in us. And so we move through our life and we act this out in our business by thinking that it's not okay for us to just work 3 hours like projectors are meant to be working, right? And so you have to wait for the invitation before anything. While you wait for the invitation, you deep dive and you learn. And this is point 3 that I will get to in a moment. But to attain the invitation, the best thing you can do as a projector is use social media. Social media, honestly, I don't know if this is because the projector is the newest energy type and social media just happens to be this like key component for projectors. The reason social media is so amazing for projectors is because you can show up. You can allow other people to see you. You can share your wisdom and guide others without being pushy, without having to force yourself on others. It has to be organic. It has to, like, crazy fact, most projectors struggle really big with ads on social media, for example. Like trying to get Instagram ads and stuff like that is very hard for projectors. And so you need to build that recognition. And that recognition comes through a follow, through a DM, through a positive comment. And that's how you grow your recognition. That is why I always say, if you're looking for a reading from a projector, it is always best to have a projector that has a successful social media platform, because they have understood success. They have understood waiting for the invitation. Often you will find more affordable projectors, but if you're getting an affordable reading from a projector that has 1,000 followers or even less, maybe they have not had the time to implement their strategy correctly and they're just at the beginning and there's potential, or maybe they haven't understood how to have true alignment. And so that is something that I really recommend that you invest in, because it just makes sense. You do not want to have tips and guidance from somebody who hasn't figured it out themselves, right? And so the way that you're able to create invitations is through actually really being able to use your expertise, share your knowledge, show up on social media, have perseverance, and really connect to your essence. essence. The more you create something that is specifically directed at you, the more your audience will be your favorite people to hang out with, because they will be a reflection of you. When I started my human design Instagram account and when I started my human design business, the only thing that I knew was that I could make it more beautiful and easier to understand than anything that I had seen out there. That was the only motive that I was like, oh, I could do something with human design, because what I saw, I felt was so aesthetically ugly. It looked like Windows 95, and that didn't give me the depth of beauty, and it didn't give me that direct access that it would have gotten to the human design information if it would have presented differently. And so I know like 85% of my clients in the first year of giving human design readings were like, oh, I heard about human design. I saw human design 5, 6, 3, 2 years ago, But now the way that you're presenting it, now I'm ready to tap into. Now I want to know more. Now this is accessible for me, my taste, my worldview, right? Because our aesthetic, our imagery, our sensibility is very heightened. And so it allows us to absorb different information of integrity and of values beneath what we're seeing. And so creating invitations is an incredibly important piece. You have to be able to show up, but also really understand when there is no invitation, and then take a step back and be like, okay, there's no invitation, that's fine. It's nothing personal. It's that you are just figuring out the energetics of things, and that might take a while. Like, I remember even in the beginning when I was starting with my human design business, there was this big Instagram account that had like 250,000 followers, and they asked like, do you know human design readers? And I was like, me, I. And I thought, if they mention me, if I get to make a story on them, if they recognize me and they publish me, then I'll have a stable human design business. Then I'll have a steady flow of clients. Mind you, this was like really early in my human design business beginnings. And then, I made the mistake and I DM them. I'm like, I'm a human design reader, because fear comes up. And when fear comes up, we move away from our authority and we're acting out of lack. And I didn't have that, kind of like trust muscle with the universe to rely upon being able to trust that it's okay for me to be a projector and that I do not have to DM. And if they are meant to choose me or invite me to talk about human design on the platform, that will happen regardless. And the crazy thing is, I texted them and I saw myself from the outside and I'm like, Micah, you're not following your strategy. What happened? Other people started recommending me that I had never thought about somebody else recommending me. And so they did end up mentioning me. They didn't text me back for like 3-4 days, which was weird, I feel. And then they put me in a group with like a bunch of other human design readers, and it brought absolutely no change whatsoever into my life. But it was a very interesting exercise because that bitterness came up and it alerted me that I didn't, use my strategy correctly, and it also was unsuccessful. And so I haven't done that since, because I trust that the people that see me and the people that follow me and the people that recognize me, they will give me that recognition. It's the same why I don't pay for my podcast guests, because if you don't recognize me, then that conversation will not be fruitful. It doesn't make any sense. And so it is scary to move out of the paradigm that we're used to, but it's actually the only way that we can move through. And so you don't need to have an invitation for everything. You don't need an invitation to create your own business. You don't need an invitation to move cross country or start something new or like initiate self-care or whatever, okay? Invitation also doesn't come through recommendation. This is a big one that I see a lot of people making mistakes. Just because somebody's like, hey, I recommended you to my friend, you should reach out. That is not a direct invitation of that person. That person might not know you. That person might trust the person you have in common, but that is not a direct invitation. So be cautious about that. When people are like, oh, I'm inviting you into this business idea. How? How are you tied to that business idea, right? Like, are you offering me a job? Are you offering me a paid compensation for my wisdom in exchange? That is a very clear invitation, which we will get to in point 4. The most clearest invitation, ladies and gentlemen, it's the money, okay? And I know a lot of people get triggered because money is a sensitive topic, but as projectors, your success is your signature. You know in your heart that you are meant to become successful. And it sounds delulu, but delulu is the sululu. Here is the next key for successful business as a projector, and that is finding your specific niche. And I feel like this is another thing that gets confused. Finding your specific niche is not, even though this is about projectors in business, it's not necessarily about the marketing niche, okay? What happens is that because you're so good at seeing how everybody's doing everything, because you're so good at emulating what everybody else is doing, because you have had to adapt to the society, you're incredibly good at 1,000 things. Projectors often feel like manifesting generators or highly identify with the manifesting generator part of their curiosity. And so it's really just interesting to watch and witness that the moment that a projector feels recognized, The moment there's a demand, the moment projectors get that aha moment, like this is the thing that is touching people, all of the other interests just suddenly fade away. Because projectors are not the energy type that gets satisfaction out of doing things. We want success. So there's something that I call the energetic peaks of each energy type. The energetic peak of a projector is not when they're having the vision, it's not when they're creating the thing, it's not when they're selling the thing, it's when the person is experiencing the wisdom of the projector. That is when we get that recognition. That is when we see an impact. That's what motivates us. It is the feedback of people that actually motivates us versus the generator, manifesting generator. They're excited about the doing. They're excited about the building, about the drawing, about the massaging. They're excited about the actual thing that they're doing with their hands, right? That is the key component, their creativity. But for projectors, it's not that. It's really that feedback. And so we need to be able to understand that if you have 1,000 things going on, it's because you haven't found that one thing that is correct for you. You know that you're on your right path when you find that one thing that people love you for, that you become an expert in. And this is the thing. While you're waiting for invitations to come, double down on learning. Focus on the thing that you're excited about. And even if you feel like, if you think that I thought that I was going to have a human design business 7 years ago, you're in the wrong. I was so afraid people would think I'm batshit crazy, which I am a little bit. But human design was not what it was now. There was no understanding. Like this was pre-COVID. Like this is COVID opened the floodgates for consciousness and spirituality and self-awareness, and it helped me and allowed me to have this business because there is such demand and interest. But as a projector, you really need to understand that there's this one niche where you see things better than anybody else. And if you're loving doing a lot of other things, that is great. But once you find your thing, you will make so much money from it that all of the other things will not have equal importance. And yes, you can have hobbies and that is all fine, but I am certain that when you find the one niche and you're making enough money and you're feeling recognized, you will also stop trying to help everybody out. Because this is like this, the projector syndrome is like, because I see and I'm here to guide, I'm going to see and guide every single person in my life. And you're constantly putting your energy into places and situations where there's no recognition, there's no monetary gain, and isn't aligned with you. And then you're bitter, frustrated, nobody cares. Why? Because you haven't found your one thing. Finding that one thing is not you thinking like, oh, what is the profitable business right now? What is trending right now? No, it is actually just really tuning into your soul and what is the thing that is touching your life? What is the thing that has impacted you? What has been your experience that changed and bettered the quality of your life? And this doesn't have to be spiritual. It could be a KPI sheet. Like, I do not give a shit about what that looks like. You could be a lawyer, you can be an athlete, you can be a nutritionist, you can be a chemist, a physicist. Like, it is not all about spirituality, being breathwork, human design, whatever. You can be a TikToker. And you're going to be incredible at guiding people, okay? But we want to understand that the moment that you find that thing, all of the rest will disappear because you will be hyper-focused on the thing that brings you recognition and money. Because that's what your soul has come here to experience. And so when I started my sustainable underwear brand before doing the human design business, I was taking the pictures and doing the mood boards and doing the casting and creating the set and like the patterns, the design, the branding, the Instagram, whatever, the content. I loved it. I loved all of the things. I really did. And now I look at my business and there's a lot of things that I'm still integrating. There's a lot of that life experience that has helped me to create the business that I have now. But I am really able to differentiate where my energy is best directed. And because the way that my energetic peak is built, I get the most energy and satisfaction, and that feeling of success comes through the impact I have in other people. And for me and my specific niche, it comes through helping you see your potential. I feel like that is my specific niche, reminding you of how incredibly magical, unique, individual, like earth shattering your soul is, and that's why it's come into existence. Like, that's so rare. You get a fucking experience life. That's so amazing, right? That's what I've come here to do. But maybe another projector's here to do something else. Although I have the feeling that most projectors have this underlying currency that is seeing your potential so much more than you can see yourself. And so that's why people come to us, because we're able to see what they are not able to see. And often projectors are the ones that have the most issues seeing ourselves. So let's just sum this up. Find a specific niche. You will find that niche when you focus on the demand, what people come to you for advice and want to know things from you. And often you might feel like, I should actually be charging for this shit because I don't know why I'm doing this for free, okay? This is a very projector thing as well. While you're waiting for the invitation, instead of trying to figure out how you can reach people, double down on your knowledge. Your niche does not have to be profitable. This thing that you're thinking about does not have to be tangible. It's not a marketing niche, okay? It's something that you feel. It's something that you can see. It's something that is palpable. But you have to be able to communicate that so people understand. Projectors need systems. Why am I able to show how valuable you are and what incredible magical being you are? Because I got a system, which is the human design system, so that I can communicate what I see with you in a very clear way. Again, don't think about from your head of if this business makes sense, but really just double down on learning, and you will become magnetic and people will start asking you questions, and then you will charge money to answer those questions. That's all it is. Let's get into the fourth pillar. So this is going to be the last point I'm touching upon, and it is one of the most important, one of the most controversial, one of the ones that nobody wants to talk about, which is money. Okay, so here's the thing. We have this innate longing to belong, and therefore we're moving out of empathy, out of compassion, out of generosity. And we're so hungry as projectors to be seen, to be recognized, to feel like we belong, to be successful in our business, that we can fall in the trap of doing things for free. Free workshop, free masterclass, free downloadable PDF, whatever. I've actually done it. And every time I've done it, I'm like, I should not be doing this for free. And so there is a very strong correlation to money, invitations, and us feeling recognized. And you will notice that when you start doing things for free, if somebody's inviting you to something because you have opportunities, it doesn't even matter how much you charge them, but it's just important that there is a monetary expense from the other side so that you feel that you're actually recognized. If people are trying to get you into something without making a monetary compensation, it can often feel like that is not enough. And this is interesting because I'm thinking, if I get invited on a podcast, I've never been paid for a podcast. I never want to be paid to, I wouldn't say no, but I don't need to be paid to be on a podcast. Why? Because I think that is something that brings me connection and fulfillment, and it's not a direct work related thing, right? And so I feel like that is something that everybody has to find out for themselves. But I just want to make you understand that one of the most clearest, direct ways to know if you're invited or not is somebody paying you. And so just because you have an invitation doesn't mean you have to take that invitation. That is another really big one. Because what happens is that we're waiting for the invitation, and suddenly an invitation comes, and we might be so hungry to be recognized and so hungry for that invitation that we'll just say yes. And then we're like, wait a minute, was this actually a great investment of my time? Because your energy and your time is so valuable that it's important that you make clear and that you in yourself sense if that is actually correct for you or not. And you can always use your authority to understand if you're making the right decisions or not. Just because you're getting an invitation does not mean you have to accept that invitation, okay? But it is important to understand that your worth and your value is very strongly tied to the monetary gains, because as projectors you're meant to have success. And so because you know that success is on your path, and success in the most classical way, and I know you guys, you can roast me in the comments, I do not care. I have never met an aligned projector who does not want to make money. I haven't. And so generators, manifesting generators, they're here to experience satisfaction. Manifestors are here to experience peace. But you, my dear projector, you're here to have a successful life. And we could argue that success can look different for everybody. And if you have an open ego, you will know more than anybody else that success can look different for different people. But there's something about recognition and money that is intrinsic to the positive experience of a projector. And it's not in a collateral of anything else. It is exactly that. And that's why I was explaining this energetic peak thing, okay? Your energetic peak is the recognition that you're getting from the other person. That's why you're doing everything. This is, because later I'm going to read your comments and somebody's going to be like, hopefully somebody's going to be like, thank you, Mike, I needed this information that's helping me out. And I'll be like, yes, this was worth my time, my energy, my dedication, my research, my thoughts, my whatever, right? And so a lot of people want to take away the money equation. And I don't know why. I really don't understand why. What is wrong with making money? What is wrong with, I mean, I know the comments are going to be on fire with this question, but the beauty of the projector is that you will never be able to make money if you're only thinking about making money. If you're focusing on how I can get more money, there will be an absence of money in your life. If you focus on how I can provide more value, how I can see you clearer, how I can dedicate my life and my energy and explaining better things so that I can make your life easier, that is going to bring you the success. Because it's impossible for a projector to be successful if they're not bringing success into other people's lives. You will see the more successful the projector, the more successful they are. So it is absolutely imperative that instead of focusing on what you can get from other people, you're doubling down on how much and how well you can give. And when you stop focusing on the things that you want or the things that you want to get, the gap between where you are and where you want to be is going to be filled with exploration, with curiosity, with excitement. Instead of it being this constant dread, like, why am I not where I want to be? This is the most projector bitterness thing, is like, they are this and they are not, you know, like, why are they there and I am not there and I should be there and I'm better than them and I have more integrity than them, and all of that might be true. I'm not discussing that at all with you, but it's important to understand that if you're focusing, right? So as in our life, in our business, we're always wanting to grow. There's always this thing that is, you know, moving us up the ladder. It's expansion. I truly believe the universe is always expanding. I believe we're always expanding. And so what happens is that the pain, or one of the most painful experiences, is like, I am here, I want to get here, and then there's this whole layer of shit that's in the middle that's stopping me from getting to where I want to go. And this is what I work on. This is what I am like extremely fascinated by. And so oftentimes the things that are here in the middle that are not allowing us to get to where we want to be are coping mechanisms that we adapted from childhood to keep us safe. And so all of these things we're stepping against that are creating resistance in our life at some point kept you safe, okay? And it's important to acknowledge that, because we need to be thankful and grateful for that thing that's here, okay? But what we want to do is we want to stop focusing on why am I not here, and start focusing on how I can make this gap more pleasurable, how I can find joy, excitement, how I can constantly like better myself, gain this mastery within this space that I'm continuously working on. And then you won't even look at how much am I getting, because you will be just putting all of your energy and all of your focus into how can I do things better? How can I show up better? How can my energy be more expansive? How can I just, you know, really give my presence and my dedication to making the world a better place? And only when you focus completely 2000% of making other people's lives better, your life will get better in return. I hope you enjoyed this video and you got some value out of it. If you thought that there was something interesting and you know anybody who could profit from this information, please share that video with them. Tag me in Instagram stories. I absolutely love your feedback. Leave a comment below. Ask me anything that you want to know. Actually, drop me questions of things that you want me to further explain, because I am lacking some inspiration for the content on YouTube. So please let me know what other things I can talk about in the comments below. Also, subscribe, like the video, talk about it to your friends, whatever it is. It helps me so much to keep the ball rolling and to continue to think about cool things that I can help and support you with. And as always, remember, I don't care what anybody says, I love you. Thank you.